Hello, this is Steve from Vito's Leatherworks. Our project of the day is this classic, vintage, iconic shoe, Florsheim Imperial. This is one of my favorite shoes, by the way. They're heavy, they're bulky, but they're very cool. Now what we're going to do full leather sole and heel. Now we're going to change the heel around a little bit. This is called a suicide heel. See all those nails there? It becomes very slippery. And when you're on some smooth tile floor, you're gone. That's it. You bust your butt. So we're going to do half rubber, half leather. We're going to put some nails in there. Not necessarily exactly like the way it is, but to make it a little bit modern so it's a little easier and safer to wear them and enjoy them. We're going to clean the uppers as best as we can. Got some uppers are a little bit damaged, the toes. We're going to strip all that off and see if we can bring life back into them. Alright, so let's get started. Now these are very cool shoes. Now these have got to be about 45 years old. I mean, imagine a 45-year-old shoes that's still in sturdy, good quality shape. This is back when Florsheim used to make awesome shoes. I believe this dates back to 70s, early to mid 70s from the dates on the inside of the shoe. Also, this little V cleat, you see that V plate, we call it V cleat, V plate. If it's inserted into the heel, it's from the 70s. If it's right on the edge of it, it's prior to 70s, if I'm not mistaken. So first things first, we've got to basically clean the uppers and try to remove some of this old polish, and it looks like there's some areas that somebody's tried to apply some cream or something, color, that's kind of faded into a different shade. And then we'll get started with removing the soles and heels. Alright, let's continue. Alright, so this is the Golden Harvest model, which is basically the color. Now, this color is pretty tough to bring back because the pebble grain leather holds a lot of dirt inside, and you can't thoroughly clean that. I mean, you can clean it, but in order for you to be able to get that nice color back, you've got to add a little bit of dye to it. In some cases, not all cases. So we're going to try to clean this off and remove everything that we can. But I don't know how many years of polish and stain are on these things. And we're just going to kind of let it dry for a little bit and come back. There's a mark right there. Somebody looks like try to hide it with a little bit of color. So there's a lot of little things on the surface you got to try to remove first before you apply any conditioners, polishes. So we're going to strip that off as best as we can now. Again, I'm using a little turpentine. You can use some acetone on these. These are pretty tough. You just got to make sure that you moisturize them back after you do all this cleaning, because you are drying out the leather. But these are tough leathers, man. I mean, this will take abuse, good beating, and still retain its nice shape. It's always good to moisturize leather. After all, it comes from a, yes, dead animal, but it is still a living product that you got to nutrition, apply some conditioners to make it last as long as possible. As you can see, it's lasted 40 some odd years, more than 45 years, I would say. Did I tell you guys this is one of my favorite shoes? I'll show you guys a pair that I repaired for a contest. Turned out real nice. We'll do that later. Alright guys, let's continue. Now, I'm using Q-tips for some of the harder to reach areas. This comes in handy actually. Some of the broguing areas that you can't get in. This works out pretty good. Now some people like that patina look, you know, the old age look, which is fine, to each his own. But everything I do is calculated. Everything that you see me doing, I've thought about what I'm going to do, and I've consulted with the owner and got his, you know, approval of what to do. I mean, after all, it is the customer's shoe. It's not my shoe. Although I'd like to have these. These are my size. 10 and a half. Anyway, so sometimes people ask me, well, why do you do those? Why do you do that? Why do you do this? It's all to benefit the shoe. Anything that will make the item look better, I will do. Of course, with the customer's blessing. I mean, I went through about 8 Q-tips already, just to kind of give you an idea, and there's still a lot more to go. So it's getting there. Alright, let's continue. Alright, now we're going to start tearing it apart. Your basic heel removal. Heel lift, I should say, because what we're going to do is we're going to reuse the base. Man, these have a lot of nails in them. Did I tell you guys that this is my favorite shoes? Oh, I did? I just want to remind you, in case you forgot. I can't hold anything this morning. Jeez. Wow, this sucker's tough. I think it has like 59 nails on each heel. Yes, 59. Crazy. Who the hell thought about this? Golly. Woo. Come on, baby. You can do it. Come on. All right. Okay, well, I'm not going to bore you to sit here and watch me pick these nails out. Alright, let's continue. Yeah, I was wrong. It's 81 nails per heel. Sorry, per top lift. Because you got more holding it on the shoe. 81 nails. And these are the square-headed nails. Where are you? I don't know if you can see that. They're like a rectangle almost. They're not really square. It's crazy, but very cool. So I was telling you guys my competition shoes. We have an association, SSIA, Shoe Service Institute of America. And our association has a contest every 2 years, which is called the Silver Cup. Basically, it's a competition where you take old shoes and you restore them. Well, you restore one of them to its original former glory. So I did one of these shoes. Now, you know, you have to duplicate exactly how it is from the manufacturer, right? So after doing all the nail detail, making sure that those square head nails were facing the same direction, same angle, perfectly in a row, I had the heel on the counter like that while I was working. And my water bottle, where's my water bottle? And this water bottle happened to tip over like this. Wouldn't you know it, right on the heel. And of course it was leaking. And it leaked right through here. When I saw that, my heart just stopped. Literally. I was like, oh my God. Now that took me hours and hours to prepare the heel, and I was like, am I gonna do this all over again? Because I was like flipping out. I was going crazy. Anyway, long story short, I just kind of calmed myself down for a second, and I said, all right, well, what am I going to do? You know, what can I do? So I decided to wet the entire surface of the heel, because hoping that, you know, when it got all wet, it would dry same way. And sure enough, you know, after hours of just kind of letting it sit there and just watching it dry, just literally sitting there watching it dry. It's like watching wet paint dry, you know? Eventually, kind of, the tone kind of evened out, and I was like, oh, what a relief. Because, man, I didn't want to go through that, doing that all over again. Okay, anyway, so we got the sole off and the midsole. This is going to be reused again. This is in great shape, by the way. And look at this. The cork is still in awesome shape. Being a 45-plus-year-old shoe, this is incredible how good of a shape it's in. But we're going to remove that. We're going to replace that. It's always good to kind of replace the cork bed when, you know, once you've got it removed. It's kind of gives it a new cushioning, because some areas, if it gets compressed, it's a little thinner than other areas. So we'll put a new cork on that. And we got to pick all these stitches out. All right, let's continue. So when it comes to these heel bases, okay, even though they're still in good shape, there's 2 layers there. We're still going to take it apart and sand and re-glue it back together, okay? Because what happens is that the glue gets old, and if you don't clean it up and re-glue it again, after the whole job is done, it might start loosening up and chance of it peeling away. We're not going to put that many nails. If we did, we'd probably hold it, but I think that this is just kind of being cautious, just so after everything is said and done, if the customer's wearing it a couple times, you don't want that to peel back like that. All right, let's continue. All right, so this is the rough draft of the uppers. Now, after cleaning it, I applied a little acrylic dye, just a little bit, and kind of even out the surface, okay? It's still got to go through a lot of conditioning and polishing to give it that depth. It's just you're plain colored right now. It's not very interesting. We still have to clean the edges right here, okay? And clean some of the areas in the welt. Got a little bit of over dye. And then once that is done, we'll go ahead and condition, we'll go ahead and polish it and give it a little bit of that depth that it needs for it to look good. All right, so let's continue. All right, so this is a little magic trick that I invented. All right, let's cover these soles up on a count of 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Look at that. Now I can't show you everything now, right? I mean, a magician doesn't show all his tricks, does he? Florsheim logos, JR, stained. All right, let's continue. All right. You like my magic trick I did earlier? Oh, Lord. There's no magic trick. Just having fun with you guys. Basically, it's just a matter of staining the sole, trying to duplicate what was it like from the manufacturer's point. So, and the stampings are embossed on there. I mean, I don't want to show everything. It's just a matter of staining, buffing, and knowing the right combinations after many trials. you know, what worked and what didn't work. So anybody can do that. They just have to practice at it until they get their formula down right. Sing my song. Kind of cool, huh? I'm telling you, I love these shoes. Oh, did I mention that to you guys? These are my favorite shoes. A little bit later, I'm going to show you guys my my competition shoes. Maybe I'll do that next while this glue is drying. All right, we'll do that next. You don't want to sit there and watch the glue dry. Alright. Okay, this is my my silver cup. Needs to be clean, I think, huh? Now, our association, Shoe Service Institute of America, has a contest every 2 years, and this was the 2017. 2 years ago I won, and these are the shoes that won my big trophy. So this is the original, how the original looks like. See, and this is my reproduction of it. Let's see if I can get it into the light real quick. All those nails are still the original nails. I took every one of them out one at a time, sanded the tops, and reused them again. So you have two entries. One is a full sole and a heel, and the other one is a half sole and heel, which again, I use the same shoe, same style of shoe, and this is the half sole and heel. Half sole and heel, basically, the soles just replaced to the shank area right there. You see that line? Now this is the same style. These are the shoes that won me my trophy. I love these shoes. They're awesome. So that's one of my trophies right there. I got quite a few of them actually. Well, anyway. This is some of the work from Germany. I entered a German contest. Now these I just put on display just to show. A couple of other ones here. These are all contest shoes. They're not meant to be really worn. They're just for show. Now, depending on the competition, some competition is you have to make it look like original, the way it was from the factory. And some competitions, like these competitions, they were basically just freestyling, you know, whatever you wanted to do. So some of them are from the Netherlands, some of them are from our association. This one I took silver. Again, this one I took silver also. So that's it. But this one's my pride and joy right here. I chased that trophy for 10 years. I finally caught up with it. All right, let's continue. All right. I pre-cut these a little bit larger than the original so I can get the stamping in the center. Still, you gotta be careful when you're gluing it. to try to center everything, because there's a little bit of, it's a little bit larger than the actual size. I mean, it's not really critical of to keep it centered. It's not structural, but to make it look better, you know. Because I got guys out there who are watching this video goes, "Damn, Steve, you should have put that in the center. The logo's not in the center." Jokingly, of course. So I'm not going to give him that satisfaction of talking, saying that my logo's not centered. Basically, I'm pressing the edges now, just to get the air pockets out. We'll go ahead and cut this, put in a press, and then we'll move on to trimming the edges, stitching it, putting the heel, and then working on the uppers. All right, let's continue. All right, so at this stage, we're going to sand the edges, give it a nice shape so we can open up a channel. The stitches to countersink into, but the guide follows the edge of the sole, so you can't have it crooked, or else your channel is going to be crooked. Just basically sand the edges until it barely touches the welt. You don't want to go into the welt. Lightly touch it, but you don't want to take it, sand it too much. Then you put your heel on, you mark exactly where it's going to be. Never have a pen when I need one. Even though I got a pocket for it, but it's never there. So we scored the line where the heel. We're going to go ahead and sand that area. As you're going to stitch it all the way around, you don't want to sand after you stitched it. Alright, so this right here, basically a little blade that opens up the channel. Now you only have one chance at this. If you screw it up, your whole job is done. Go ahead and clean that up a little bit, make it look nicer. Stitch it, trim the edges, attach the heel, and out the door it goes. Alright, let's continue. Before we stitch it on this particular pair, we're going to do a set of French tips. French tips are, or they're called Lulu taps, basically prevent the toes from wearing down prematurely. Some people drag their toes as they walk, so this is a good idea to install one of these so your shoes can last a long time. Now, sometimes I do it after, sometimes I do it before I stitch it. This particular time I remembered that, hey, I need to do French tip. I mean, it's okay. Both ways I've done it. Like sometimes when shoes will come in new, for example, or worn out. So either way can be done. Basically cut a notch right into the leather there. Now the trick is that the taps in the leather has got to be flat, even. Neither can't be higher or lower. It's got to be flush with that. This leather is very dense. JR leather is a very tough leather. Even though I've got a sharp blade on here, it's not easy cutting into this sucker. A little at a time. After I cut it, I go ahead and usually sand it a little bit just to kind of level out the surface. And then I'll go ahead and open that channel back up for the stitch to countersink into. And then we'll go ahead and stitch it. Alright, let's continue. This machine is an outsole stitcher, right? Which means that it stitches the soles from the outside. Outsole stitchers for like Goodyear welted shoes. So there's an adjustment for the stitch length, right? So you kind of eyeball it to put it wherever you want. Now, the top thread can be any color you want. I'm just choosing black here because that's what's on the machine now. So again, it's a little bit of a nerve-wracking, you know, when you're stitching something like this, because again, you only have one shot, then one chance to stitch it and get it right. I mean, if you look real close, it's an exact same holes as it was originally. And we'll hammer that down. We'll trim the edges. We'll put the heel on. Clean condition. Ready to go. All right, let's continue. Okay, so at this stage, it's been stitched. Now we need to trim the edges. Now, this is what you call a trimming blade. Okay? It's right there. It's a little bit wider depending on the width of the sole. I change these to accommodate the width. Now, the reason I use these is that it leaves a small little bead on the edge of the sole. Now, sometimes what people will do, they'll go ahead and sand the surface and then polish, buff it, and out the door it goes. It's okay. I mean, you know, everybody does it differently. I use a trimmer, okay, and then I'll use an iron, basically like a heating iron, to match that exact duplicate trimmer shape, and it looks really nice. Now you got to be careful. This sucker is very, very fast and very sharp. So always be careful. I got to wet the leather down a little bit because just to soften it up. Because when you wet leather, it crushes the fibers down and you get a nice smooth finish. We're not going to do the toe because we still have to put that French tip on there. So once we do that, then we'll sand this much just to kind of even out the surface. Sure if you can see it or not, but you'll see it better when it's finished. There's a little lip right on the edge there. All right, let's continue. All right, now it's time for the French tips. Now I drill my the holes on the taps. I countersink them a little bit so the screws can sink a little deeper so they don't stick out. Go ahead and pre-punch our holes. This way they're a little bit deeper, they don't stick up and scratch any floors or anything. Just punch these holes slightly. Now these are soft screws, so you got to be careful so you don't mess up the tip. Now this is on the lowest that it could be, so I don't mess that up. I have messed it up in the past before and I've been got called out on it, but we're all human. It happens sometimes. Alright, now the tap is in. Now we go ahead and sand the edges here to make the tap flush with the sole. We'll go ahead and put our edge dressing, iron the edges, kind of burnish the edges to get it nice and shine. Then we'll be ready for the heel. Alright, let's continue. So once the heels are glued on, we nail them from the inside with these threaded nails. Most of the time, I don't nail my heels from the top. Most of the time. Now, the ones I do put on, like we're going to put on these, are going to be for decoration basically. Not structurally holding on to anything. Just for looks. Once these are put on, these aren't going anywhere. Remember earlier we took apart the heel base, glued them together. So putting this together, gluing everything together to the top lift, to the shoe, and nailing these aren't going anywhere. Cool. You're going to glue the sock lining back on. Now we're going to trim the edges, finish it with edge dye, and we're almost done. All right, let's continue. is the iconic 5 nails that they talk about when they talk about the shoe. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate it just like they had it originally. Exactly same spot. Once these are done, we're going to do some gold nails on the heel to give it some sort of a pattern. Now, sometimes I use gold, sometimes I use silver, or brass, I should say. If it didn't have a French tip, which is silver, I would have put these gold. But since that's silver there, this will match it pretty good. Make sure nothing is in the inside that's going to poke his foot. Alright. So now we get to put some brass nails on here just for decoration. We're going to do 2 rows, similar to what it was originally, but not necessarily the same. But I'll do one just to show you guys so you don't have to sit here and watch me put all these nails in. I'll show you guys once it gets done. Alright, let's continue. Alright, so we're almost done. Now, this toe medallion here, the pattern, right? You know, polishes, waxes get stuck in them, and they're not, the holes get kind of clogged. So when you get done, all you got to do is just kind of, you know, just poke at the holes like this, and it looks so much better because it doesn't look like they're clogged now. You can actually see the pattern. It's a minor detail, but man, when you're looking at a shoe, I'll show you the other one and this one to compare. You can really tell the difference. Once you know, open the pores up again like this. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's just over time it'll just kind of go away. It's not going to clog anything. It just looks like it's clogged away. So these are all done now. Let me show you the other one I haven't done yet. That'll give you an idea. So this one got done. When you notice the difference, the pattern kind of stands out more because you see the dark dots. Cool. All right, so we're almost done. I'm just kind of putting the final touches on it, and then when I come back, I'll show you the finished product. All right, let's continue. All right, welcome back. So we're finished with this project. I think it turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. Did I tell you guys that I love this shoe? I did? I still do. It's one of my favorites, I swear. I keep on every time I see it, I fall in love with it all over again. Now, it's not the 82 or 81 nails, but this is much more user friendly, so he can wear it and actual wear it and not worry about that he's going to slip and fall and bust his butt. All right, well, I'm glad you joined me. Once again, comment, share, whatever you want to do. Everything's appreciated. All right, we'll see you next time. Take care.